Hi guys, welcome to my channel. So if you're new here, which I'm assuming most of you or all of you are new here, but as you can see in the title of today's video, I'm going to be talking about how I found out I was pregnant, my different symptoms, finding out in a different country, and all of the craziness that entails with all of that. So if you're interested, please stay tuned. And yeah, let's get into it. One thing I'd like to say before I start though is I am currently 33 weeks. So this video is coming way after the fact of me finding out. And if it sounds like I'm short of breath or out of breath, it's because I am. At 33 weeks, there is not much room down here in my belly. So yeah, bear with me with that. So let's backtrack to, let's say, June of 2022. So in June of 2022 is when I went to Peru. So my birthday's in June. So my boyfriend and I planned, I think, a 5-day trip to go to Peru, visit Lima, Cusco, see Machu Picchu, all of the things. On this trip though, I was on my period when we left for the trip, and it was projected to end based off my calendar, I think the day of or the day before my birthday. So it kind of sucks going on vacation with your period, but it wasn't really that big of a deal. Not the first time that's happened to me, so I didn't think much of it. On the trip, like I said, my period did end, so you know, we did some adult things. I won't go into detail. And with that, I don't believe I was ovulating, because I think ovulation happens about 10 days after your period. So if this baby was conceived in Peru, cannot be confirmed or denied, but we're assuming, yeah. There was that. We come back from the trip. I'm not really feeling anything crazy afterwards. Just going about my regular activities, celebrating my birthday month, because I don't just celebrate for just the day, I celebrate the whole month of June. So yeah, doing all these different things. But I did have another trip coming up for work, to stay in France for a month, because my job is based in France. And they wanted me to leave, I think, June 23rd. So I got back from Peru June 15th, I believe. So I had about 8 to 10 days to really pack up all of my stuff that I was going to be taking with me to France, you know, enjoy the rest of my birthday month and all of those things. So during that time, I'm not thinking anything, not feeling anything, just going about as normal. So I'm planning what I'm packing for my trip or my upcoming work trip. And one of the things I'm packing is obviously like feminine hygiene products. So tampons, pads, all the things. And I'm expecting to get my period in July. This period never came, but I'll get into that. Then I end up going to France, I think, as I said, June 23rd or something like that. I fly over there, things are fine. I'm doing regular work stuff, but just there with my team since I work remotely. And hold on, pregnancy brain is a thing. So then June 23rd or 24th, whatever it was that I left, it comes around and I end up flying over to France. And there, things are going as normal. I spent a few days in Paris on my own, took the train to the city where my job is based. And, you know, it was fine and dandy from there. It was really hot, so I didn't really enjoy it. But a couple weeks, not even a couple weeks, a week goes by, and I think at that point I'm not really checking for my period to come, but I'm assuming it's about to come in the next few days because I'm getting a notification from my period app. Most of us women do have the period app or an app to track your period. So I think mine was telling me it was supposed to start within like a day or two or something. So I'm thinking, okay, cool, whatever. Again, I'm not feeling anything crazy. I'm just going about my business. So I believe the second week that I was there, my period was late. So it became 1 day late. And at one day late, I wasn't really stressed about it. My period does come like clockwork every single month, but it doesn't come on the exact day that the period app always says. It's always maybe a couple days before, a couple days after, which I assume happens for a lot of women. I don't think an app can exactly time it unless yours is like perfect, but for me, it wasn't alarming. So day 2 rolls around, still not really concerned, and I think day 2 or maybe 3 of my period being late, I did experience some spotting, some very light spotting, and usually I do experience that when I'm about to start my period. So I'm thinking like, okay, so it's really about to start within the next day or so. The next day, the spotting stopped and there was no period still. And so that's day 3 or 4. And I'm not really feeling anything crazy, but I do feel my nipples sore and just like overall like breast tenderness or whatever, which is another symptom that I do experience before my period's about to start. So again, I'm not alarmed. I'm thinking these things are happening because, you know, yeah. But again, no period, nothing's happening. But I'm still living my life as normal. I'm not concerned or anything like that. Crazy thing, at the time, a friend of mine was having a period scare of her own, or not a period scare, a pregnancy scare. And she was thinking that she could be pregnant. So she took a test and I think she might have seen a faint line, but it turned out she wasn't pregnant. She did get her period and everything was fine. And then I was like, oh, cool, like, you know, that's good, because that's not something she was planning for at the time or expecting. So, you know, it was kind of a good thing that she wasn't. But then for me, I was just like, oh, that's good. Like, I'm just waiting on mine to come now. And then she kind of just like laughed and was just like, LOL, that would be funny. It would be funny if it was actually you and not me. And I'm just like, no, that's not what's happening here. Just being in denial, honestly. But yeah, I didn't think that that was something that was possible for some reason. Like, I don't know, like at this grown age, I probably should have assumed, but I just didn't think it was a thing. Like, I really didn't. So day 4 comes around, or day 5. I'm not really sure of the exact days, but I still haven't gotten a period. And at that point, I'm like a little concerned and I'm thinking like, maybe I should take a test, you know, but I'm not really pressed about it. Again, still living life as normal. And I also honestly was assuming that maybe, you know, with like jet lag, being in a different country, drinking different water, different food, like maybe something is like stalling my period. I was really tired because I'm adjusting to a 6-hour time difference from home to this new place, and I'm out of my comfort zone. I don't know, there's so many things that could affect a woman's period. So I'm thinking maybe it's something, some external factor, which obviously was not what was going on, but that's what I was assuming. But I did start thinking maybe a test might be something to take. So by day 5 or 6 of my period being late, I'm talking to my boyfriend on the phone. We were talking every day, obviously. And at some point I said, I think I should take a test. So he's just like, I don't know what he said exactly, but I think he said something along the lines of like, are you sure? Like, do you really think so? You know, and I'm like, I don't really think that I'm pregnant, but you know, maybe it's something I should take just to be sure. So he said, you know, okay, like, you know, just get a test, you know, after work or something, and like take it when like I'm on the phone with you, like so I could be there or whatever. And I'm just like, okay, cool. So that day, which was probably I think a Tuesday, so no, that was a Monday. So that was a Monday morning or whatever that I told him that I wanted to take a test, or I was planning to take a test. And that evening I went to go to the pharmacy to get a test. So after work, I walked to the pharmacy like nearby where I was staying, and I got a little cheap test, which was probably like 2 or 3 euros or something, which I think is like pretty similar in dollars, $2 or $3. And yeah, and I remember when I was walking home, I was thinking like, oh, maybe I should get a bottle of wine, but I decided against it because something told me like, you know, I should take this test first just to make sure before I like drink, you know, which was crazy to me because literally the day before that, Sunday before, I took myself out to like this little like cafe bar type of thing. And I had like 3 drinks, like 3 cocktails, and I was like, you know, feeling good, you know, did my makeup, all this stuff. And I'm like, you know, I'm in France, whatever. It was not as glamorous as I'm making it sound, but I was trying to enjoy my time there. I was pretty homesick, but the thing is that I, you know, had those 3 drinks. Little did I know those were gonna be my last 3 drinks for months. There was that. And again, like I said, Monday afternoon or Monday evening after work, I got the test. So I go back to my hotel apartment thing and I'm not really thinking anything of it, but I'm thinking maybe I should take it in the morning because I've heard that the first pee or whatever is the freshest or whatever has the highest level of the HCG hormone, which I think that's what pregnancy tests are testing for. So, you know, I went to sleep and woke up the next day. And mind you, my boyfriend specifically said he wanted to take it, or not take it, but I guess be there on the phone with me when I took it. But I was thinking like, let me just take it now when I woke up in the morning on Tuesday. So I took the test right before I'm about to go to work. I wake up around 8 a.m. for work, and I think I started work at 9 a.m. So I took the test and I'm just waiting, trying to get ready and things like that. But I didn't even have much time to get ready because after I took the test and put it down, that line popped up so fast, like incredibly fast. And I was honestly just in shock. I didn't know what to do. I could barely move. I couldn't speak. And I had no one with me because at 8 a.m. back home, it was 2 a.m. So here it was 2 a.m. on the East Coast of the US. And in France, it was 8 in the morning. So I'm like, there's no one I can even call. Everybody's sleeping. So I'm just freaking out with this information. I'm like, I think in the beginning, I didn't cry immediately. I was just in a state of shock. And then once it started to settle in after a couple of minutes, I just started crying. I'm like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? Because this was an unexpected pregnancy. It's not something I was planning for at all. Like I just turned 25. Like I was not in the, I don't know, I just wasn't in the family building mindset, but you know, things happen and I am very grateful for it now. But in the moment, I was just freaking out. I was just whatever. And in hindsight, I really do wish I waited to take it because I had to go to work like right then and there basically. So after I took it, I had like 15 or 20 minutes left before I had to like leave to go to the office. So while I'm getting ready, I'm still like just a mess, but I'm like, I gotta suck it up. Like I gotta go, you know, like figure it out. I'll figure it out later. Yeah, so I end up going to work and I'm sitting in the office and I'm still a mess. Like I'm hiding, not really hiding, but like trying to hide my face behind my computer screen because I literally could not stop crying. Like I would stop and I would start again. Like my heart was beating really fast, like a lot of anxiety, like just a whole bunch of mixed emotions. And I'm just waiting for the time to come to where I could call my boyfriend and let him know the news, right? So I waited, I think until 11 a.m. and that's when he was, well, 11 a.m. in France, but it was 5 a.m. in the East Coast of the US. So it was 5 a.m. here and he was going to the gym. So he was getting ready to go to the gym and he texted me, probably saying good morning or something. And I just took that as an opportunity for me to take like a quick little 15-minute break. I don't know if I was allowed to take that break, but I just needed to get out of the office to talk to him. So I walked out and I went downstairs and around the corner to like a Starbucks that was nearby, and I just like ordered like a little refresher or something, like the acai refresher or something like that. And so he's just talking and I'm just like, okay, like I'm not even really listening at this point, but I'm just letting him talk, trying to calm my nerves so I can work up the nerves to tell him. And at some point, he reaches, I guess, a point where he's done saying whatever he was saying. And I just say, so I took a test. And then he's just like, oh, what test? Like, I think he was a bit confused. And I'm like, I took a pregnancy test. And then he was just like, really? And I'm just like, yeah. And he said, so like, what was it? What was like the result? And I'm just like, it was positive. And he's just like, whoa. I remember that was the first thing. He was just like, whoa. And he was just like, really? And I was just like, yeah. And he was like, when did you take it? And I'm like, I took it this morning. And yeah, that's what happened. And then I think I was crying maybe, but I don't think he noticed because it was like a silent cry. I think I just had tears. My voice was like normal. And then, I don't know, his reaction changed really quickly because he went from kind of like a calm shock, like, whoa, like whatever, to just like, oh, I'm hype. I'm just like, what the heck? I'm just like, I'm over here freaking out. I'm freaking out. And like, I don't even know what to think. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to say. And he's just like, oh, I'm hype. And then like, I think he like laughed a little bit. But then after that, he was just reassuring me like things were going to be okay. You know, like just saying that, you know, we're in this together and like, there's nothing to really worry about, et cetera, which was a bit more reassuring. It didn't calm my nerves down completely. You know, I definitely still was in a state of just full-blown anxiety and shock, and I could not believe this. But it did help that he was very calm and he was very like reassuring that this was something that we're going to be in this together, and like, you know, he was happy about it and things like that. So that was great. I think I don't know what we said, but I think we both said that maybe I should take another test, or I said I should take another test because maybe I needed a digital one. I don't know what I thought, like that line was fake or something, or it was a false positive, but just to be sure, I said I would go get another test and do it again just to confirm. So later that day, I don't think I got anything done at work. Honestly, I think that's all I was thinking about. But after work, again, I walked to a different pharmacy and I got a digital Clear Blue test. And Clear Blue is a brand that I recognize from being here. So I don't know if it's an American brand, but I know it's pretty popular here in America. So I was like, okay. It still wasn't technically, it wasn't in English, like it was in French. So the pregnancy test, if you're pregnant, it would say enceinte. And I think if you were not pregnant, it would say pas enceinte, which is not pregnant. But yeah, so I got that. And I'm thinking, okay, like I need something that like literally says you're pregnant or you're not pregnant. Go back to my apartment, hotel, place, whatever. And I have my boyfriend on the phone and he's like just doing his own thing or whatever. And I'm like, okay, I'm gonna take the test. And I took it, and again, clear as day, pregnant. It popped up so quick, and he's just like, oh my gosh. But again, he was still pretty happy and he was like calm about it. So there wasn't anything for me to be, I guess, concerned about when it came to him. So it was like full support from him from the beginning. So that was great. I think I was just really stuck in my head about how abrupt this was happening. I had no idea, like I was not expecting this, and this is not something I was planning for. Not that everything in life can even be planned for, but that's something I was hoping I could have planned for. Everything happens for a reason, and I'm very happy and I feel very blessed now, but in the moment it was just yeah. So at that point, I'm coming to the terms of, okay, I'm gonna be a mom. So I'm just looking up mom stuff, first trimester symptoms, things like that. And then in hindsight, I did realize that I was having some symptoms. So the spotting I was having, I'm assuming was implantation bleeding, which is when the fertilized egg, I guess, or embryo, attaches to the uterus or whatever. And I guess like there could be like a little bit of like bleeding from that, which makes sense because the spotting was extremely light. I did still assume it was going to be my period, even though my period spotting is a little bit more than that. I didn't think anything of it, but yeah, it was extremely light, very pink, extremely light pink. And then the breast tenderness or like the nipple soreness, obviously that's a very big popular symptom, well not popular, but common symptom for, you know, pregnant women. And then I started realizing like, oh yeah, like I have been very tired and fatigued, but I was assuming it's just jet lag, even though I had been there for like, I think 2 weeks at that point, but I still hadn't really adjusted. But I'm thinking like, it's just jet lag, there's nothing of it, but it really could have just been like pregnancy fatigue. And then I remember I had like night sweats at some point, which is not common, but I did see like a video or two of women who did say that they experienced night sweats in their first trimester. So I feel like that was a pregnancy symptom, but it was also really hot in France and their ACs are not the best from what I experienced. So I feel like it could have been that too, but either way, there were just certain things going on. And then after reflecting on that, that's when I feel like I started feeling new symptoms. So I was never really, I never really had like morning sickness in the sense of like throwing up and stuff, like until a little bit later. But in the very beginning, like I did start to lose my appetite and I was a bit nauseated by the smell and the thought of certain foods. So I don't know if that falls under morning sickness, but I was starting to feel that. I didn't really want to eat anything. The only things I wanted to eat had to be very plain, like French fries with like nothing on it, or like bread, or I don't know, crackers or something. And if I did try to eat like food, it would have to be like maybe like pizza, but like again, like nothing too complicated. Like I just did not want to eat anything crazy, which is weird because I'm in France. So it's like there's so many different things that I could be eating there, but I couldn't. Like the thought of it just made me no. And even one of the meals that I had prior to even finding out I was pregnant, I had like food from like this Indian place and I thought it was delicious. And then I'm thinking like, okay, like maybe I should try eating that again. And I had it again and I was completely nauseated. I don't know how I would feel about it now, but at the time I was just like completely nauseated by it. I did not want it. Same thing for like other foods I had there. It just wasn't. So after that, some more days passed by and I'm finishing up, I guess, my time at my job and, you know, preparing to like leave and go back to Paris so I can fly out to come home. But I was going to spend another few days in Paris again, just because, but I would be working remotely from my hotel. So I end up doing that and going to Paris. I checked into my hotel, everything is fine. I think the night or the day after, or the morning after I checked into my hotel, that's when I started bleeding. So I noticed that I had a lot of bleeding on the bed. It wasn't like crazy, but it was reminiscent of a period. Like it did look similar to what period bleeding could be, but not quite. But it was bright red, so it was like fresh blood. And I was seeing that and I completely freaked out. And obviously when a woman is pregnant, especially in the first trimester, it's a very sensitive time, a very vulnerable time where, you know, things can go wrong, things can happen where, you know, there can be like loss or whatever. And me being me, which I should not have done this, but I'm looking up all the possibilities of what this bleeding could be. So I'm seeing that obviously one of the things people talk about is, you know, miscarriages. I was seeing like subchorionic hematoma. I'm seeing like things regarding like, I don't know, just a bunch of different things as to why, you know, a woman could be bleeding in like early pregnancy. And at the time, I was not really comfortable with the idea of going to a clinic in France, and I was supposed to come home within like a few days. And I think I just assumed like, okay, whatever's going on is probably not very preventable. So I just decided not to go to a clinic. Probably should have, you know, especially for peace of mind and just to make sure things were okay, at least with me, you know, because who knows what could have been going on. But that was just the decision I made at the time, and I was really freaked out and scared. So I don't know, I was just thinking I just need to get home so I can go to a hospital here in the US and whatever. In the few days afterwards, after that, I did not experience as much bleeding as that day, but I was still experiencing the bleeding. And at some point it did stop, and or I had like some spotting where it was like brown, and usually like if it's brown, that means it's old and like drying up or whatever. But it was still happening. So it continued happening kind of like that, like waves of like more bleeding and like less bleeding until I got back home. And once I got back home, I ended up going to the ER a few days after. And at the ER, you know, we went in the middle of the night, honestly, because it was just getting out of hand. Like, you know, at that point there was like clotting, like blood clotting. And I'm just like, what the heck is going on? Like, I was just really praying for the best, because even though this was unexpected, at that point, that was something I was very sure that, like, you know, I want this, you know, I wanted my baby to be okay. I wanted to be okay. So I ended up going to the ER, and at the ER, they did some tests, you know, and I don't know exactly what the tests were, but they just did some different tests, and you know, took my blood pressure, all these different things, and we were just waiting. And they said that they would do a transvaginal ultrasound, because at that point the baby's too small for them to do the one like where they put like the gel on your belly and use that little contraption to see the baby. So they have to do a transvaginal ultrasound. So during that time, I'm just like hoping and praying everything's okay. Like, I'm praying for the best. I'm just a ball of emotions. At that point, there were other things going on in my personal life that was stressing me as well. So I'm not really even fully there. Like, there's so many things on my mind, you know, that I'm trying to process at once. But in that moment, I really just wanted to be healthy and hope my baby's healthy, and like, it was nothing serious. And after they did the ultrasound, they did confirm that there was a baby in there. So the baby, that was my first time actually seeing the baby, which was such a great feeling. It's like my heart literally melted. The ultrasound tech, like, she showed me like the little like flickering like heartbeat, and it was just so surreal to see like an actual baby floating in there. Like, I still can't believe it, even though now like they're way bigger and I can actually feel them moving. It was just very surreal. And the doctor who I guess like requested the test and stuff, came back and confirmed that it was just a UTI. So for those of you who don't know, a UTI can cause bleeding, I guess for pregnant women. I don't know exactly why. I remember seeing that, I think due to the proteins in your urine or something, or like sugar in your urine, it can cause a UTI. And I guess if it goes untreated, it can then cause bleeding. I don't know if it's bleeding from the bladder or whatever, but anyway, he prescribed antibiotics for me. So I took those for about a week. I had my first OBGYN appointment where they also confirmed I was pregnant with a urine test. I don't know if I did a blood test or not, but at that point it was very like sure that there's a baby. I've seen the baby, I've tested for the baby, everything's good. The antibiotics cleared up the UTI perfectly. Like, I haven't had any issues since. And again, I did say I don't know if I mentioned this, but I am 33 weeks now. So it's been smooth sailing since then, nothing crazy. But yeah, I think that's everything with how I found out. So yeah, essentially this was a baby that was possibly conceived in Peru, and I found out about the baby in France. So hopefully this video, you guys enjoyed it, or maybe it was helpful for anyone who is experiencing you know, a first-time pregnancy and you didn't know what to expect either. Yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed it. I will be making some more videos on my pregnancy journey. So I'll be talking about my first trimester symptoms, second trimester symptoms, third trimester symptoms, and I'll be getting into different things like my cravings, you know, my pregnancy must-haves. And since I am nearing the end, I will be doing a video on what to pack for your hospital bag, or what I'm packing for my hospital bag. So maybe that could help one of you guys as well, or some of you guys. And yeah, in that case, please be sure to like, share, and subscribe. And I will link all my socials down below. So feel free to follow me there. And yeah, thank you for watching.